several bosses. One of them happens to be here. Andrew is serving this weekend here as well. But working at camp is something that I've done for a really long time. My experience at camp started out back in 2002 when I was a camper for the first time. And just through being a camper, I really fell in love with it. I went through our leadership program for 2 straight years and loved that, and worked on staff for 6 more years. And for a couple of days, I actually had the pleasure of directing that same leadership program that I participated in. And I really ended up loving it so much that I started working there full time in the fall of 2013. So I'm going on over a year now, and it's just been a huge blessing. And I really love my job. And I think the reason that I love my job so much is that the mission of our organization is to teach the person and character of Jesus Christ to campers. So really, for a living, that's what we do. That we teach the person and character of Jesus Christ. But what I want to talk about, I think, is how campers come to learn the person and character of Jesus Christ when they're at camp. It's a Christian camp. We're a branch of the YMCA, of the Atlanta YMCA, and we do honor the C that's in the YMCA. And our kids hear devotions 3 times a day. They hear one at morning assembly, they hear one at night with all of camp, and they hear another one in their cabin with their staff members. But I really don't think that it's those devotions that are really teaching people about the person and character of Christ. I think the way they really learn the most about the person and character of Christ is the way that the person and character is modeled to them through our staff members. Just a few examples. I think that they learn about the person and character of Christ when they arrive to camp, and within 5 minutes of being there, they feel love and they feel cared about by their counselor that they just met 5 minutes before. I think they really learn about the person and character of Christ when they're at a meal and their counselor won't sit down until every single kid at their table has food on their plate and is already eating. Or when they can't get up on water skis and the counselor jumps off the boat and holds their skis together until the boat pulls them out of the water. Or when they're homesick and their counselor just puts every ounce of energy they have into making sure that that kid has just the best week of their life. And I feel like I'm able to state these things as facts, not because I work there, but because I got to experience it. I remember back in 2004, I was 13 years old. I was in middle school, so it's already like kind of a weird time in a kid's life. And I remember I had a counselor. His name was Marsh. I can't tell you anything that I heard in a devotion that week. It was 12 years ago, and I heard a lot of them. I couldn't tell you any specific thing that I learned. But what I can tell you is that I remember Marsh, and I remember sitting there at dinner. I already felt loved by this person that I had just met. I remember seeing him serve us. I remember him hanging out with us all day when he could have been hanging out with other staff members that were his age and probably some of his really good friends. I just remember seeing someone that really painted the picture of what a Christ-like servant leader looks like by the way that he lived out his life at camp. I remember going through the rest of the week, and we have this closing night. It's an emotional time for a lot of people because all the kids want to go home. I remember hugging him, and I remember thinking, you know what, I think that this is something that I would like to do for somebody else one day. And I think that because of the way that Marsh modeled Christ's love to me, the way he served me, I think I learned more about the person and character of Jesus Christ than I ever had in my entire life. So I tell that story to make the point that the brothers coming here for the first time this weekend are going to be affected most by the way we model Christ's love to them through acts of service. I think that they're going to hear some great talks. I've heard a lot of them before. They're incredible. But I think that what is going to make the biggest impact on them is serving them. It's going to start as soon as they get here and people are there to valet their cars for them, and then other people will carry their bags to the table, or to their cabins for them. It's going to be when the table servants are waiting on them virtually the entire weekend, or when the kitchen crew doesn't sit down the entire meal because they're too busy serving and they won't eat till afterwards. Or just when they're sitting at the table and the table listeners are just more interested in hearing what these guys have to say than they are preaching to them. This concept, I think, of love through service comes straight from Jesus himself. Almost 2,000 years ago, the disciples arrived to where they'd be staying in Jerusalem for the night. And they were obviously really tired from walking around all day, and their feet were dirty from wearing sandals. It was customary upon arrival that the servant of the house would wash their feet. But that night there weren't any servants. So Jesus himself took off his robe and started washing their feet. And this confused some of the disciples, and one of them, Peter, exclaimed, "If anything, Jesus, I should be washing your feet." But Jesus continued to wash their feet anyway, and then he said in John chapter 13, verse 14, "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet." I want to just close by saying that I think that this weekend there's going to be a lot of feet for us to wash this weekend. And we have that incredible opportunity to just pour ourselves into these brothers just by serving them. Just what an honor that we have to just model Christ's love through acts of service, just in the same manner that he taught us and showed us how to do a long time ago. So I'm going to close in prayer, and then we'll get going here. Father, I just thank you for bringing us all these feet to wash this weekend. I just ask that you just allow us to humbly serve in your name and just glorify you through the way that we really try to model the love of your Son just to everyone here this weekend. We ask your blessings on the weekend ahead, and just ask that you bring everyone up here safely and help everyone return home safely as well. Just let everything and all the events of this weekend glorify you. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.